Can I refuse visitation to the non-custodial parent if they have no electricity? I have primary physical custody of my child. I found out this weekend they went to visit their father that he has no electricity and has not had electricity for about a month from what I can tell. He told me it will be another month minimum before he gets it back on. Temperatures are starting to drop below freezing at night. Can I legally tell him that our child will not be allowed overnight again until he fixes his electric?
No. Next question.
That's what I was going to say. Well, I'll go with it depends on what your order says. If your order allows you to deny visitation if there's no electricity, then you can. Aside from that, Christina's answer is
yeah. No. But like when I say yeah, I meant like no. So here's what I'll say. If you find your kiddo in that situation, anything that you are concerned about that you think is going to affect their safety and welfare, number one, try to reach an agreement with the opposing party, maybe allow some make-em time in the future, maybe do something like that. If not, then you need to hire an attorney. You need to file a request to modify your order. You need to request a temporary restraining order with extraordinary relief to request that his visitation be denied in the interim. So that way you have a valid court order that will allow you to deny access to keep your kiddo safe.
Alternatively, the cheaper method would be to give him $200 for his electric bill.
Yeah, you pay us, you can pay the electric. You choose.
Okay, so now family with a little bit of maybe crim. How to stop my ex-wife from harassing my daughter. My ex-wife keeps telling everyone lies about my daughter doing drugs and sleeping around, and she's following my daughter every time she leaves the house. My daughter lives with me full-time for the last 6 years. She turns 18 in 2 months, and her and ex-wife do not get along. Now my ex is waiting outside my house and follows my daughter every time she leaves. Daughter has high heart rate and has been seen by the doctor quite a bit for this heart issue, along with anxiety and depression. What my ex is doing is causing my daughter to really have a hard time coping with her mother's actions. I'm afraid this could turn ugly and my daughter hurting herself. When she's very happy and positive until my ex started this recently.
Yikes.
So I'm curious. I'm assuming this isn't ex-wife's daughter.
No, I bet you it is. I bet you it's mom.
He doesn't say mom, and he keeps saying my daughter.
Like that matters.
Okay.
I bet you it's mom.
Either way, I don't guess it really matters.
It doesn't, but I bet you it's mom. It has to be. So mom's basically harassing 17-year-old, 2 more months. So I guess technically you could go back to court. You could request an injunction prohibiting mom from committing these acts, right? That order, though, would only be valid until emancipation, so 18 and graduating from high school. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that kiddo still has another year. In high school, maybe that would be helpful if it's only a couple months. May not be worth the time and money to be able to request that.
Stalking PO?
That's what I was kind of thinking. Go.
Stalking protective order. So, and she can do that now, or you could do it now on her behalf, or when she turns 18, she could do it on her own. But get a protective order on the basis that she's being stalked and harassed. And then that would be for 2 years. This mom would not be allowed to do that. And if mom continued to do that, then she would be subject to criminal prosecution.
Yeah. And I mean, if she's like waiting outside the house, I don't know like where she is, maybe you try to issue some sort of trespass warning. I don't know what else you could do.
Get harassment charges or stalking charges pressed on her. Contact the police department.
Yeah.
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 Period.
Done.
Can I hide my husband's passport? I'm in an abusive marriage and I'm leaving the country to take a cruise that I don't want him to go with me. Is it illegal to hide his passport in the house to prevent him from going?
What the hell are we living here?
Very creative.
Yeah, no shit. So we're going on an out-of-country trip. I'm going to hide my husband's passport so that he can't go.
That's crazy, Tal. Maybe you should consider a divorce.
Right, yeah.
No.
No, seriously, yeah.
Is it illegal to hide someone's passport?
I don't think it's illegal. It's certainly rude.
Yeah. Don't think that that's illegal. Don't think that you could technically really get into any trouble, but probably not the best practice.
Any issues with fact that it's a government document that she's not heard?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe if it was delivered to the house, addressed to him, and he opened the mail, right?
Or she opened the mail.
Yeah, she opened the mail and then hid the passport. But just stashing away the passport. First of all, if you do, don't ever admit it. Just say I got lost, right? But don't. Why? Just tell him I don't want you to go. Get a divorce.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't seen or talked to my wife in 17 years. Can I get a divorce so I can remarry?
You're a lucky man.
Yes.
We were briefly married in 2005 and briefly lived together before she had to travel back to Massachusetts. I went to jail for 6 months and never heard from her again.
So yes, get a divorce. You can do it. Anytime we have issues like that, because crazily enough, it comes up quite often. Service is typically an issue because in order to start a divorce, you have to make sure you get the other party served. So we got to try to find them. Maybe we do a citation by publication. The other thing that you have to remember is technically everything that you've acquired during those 17 years is community property, and it would be subject to division. And so get ready for that. Those are always fun and interesting conversations. But yeah, you should have gotten a divorce a long time ago. You can do it now.
Yeah.
No time like the present.
It's like a sitcom plot.
Right.
My wife and I are both U.S. citizens and settled overseas for more than a decade. How do we get a divorce? We've been married for nearly 20 years and we married in the U.S.
Get divorced wherever you live.
Yeah, you can. At least in Texas, you have to reside in the state for at least 6 months, in the county for at least 90 days. And so if you are residing outside of Texas, then you file wherever you live. It doesn't matter where you get married. I get that question all the time. Well, we got married in Mexico and now we're living in Texas. Can we get a divorce here? Yes.
Yeah.
Depends on where you live.
Whatever those laws say, that's what you got to follow.
My husband intentionally filed divorce in a different county than we reside. Husband is sole financial provider and abandoned the marital home and responsibilities 3 weeks ago. I was granted a TRO, so we have a hearing for spousal support and attorney's fees in County A. He filed the divorce erroneously in County B, and I was served. My hearing is before my response date, but I can't ignore the dissolution.
So she filed in County A, which is proper county.
Mm-hmm.
Then he files in County B, which is improper county.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can't file in County B. County A, you do need to file a response. I believe it would be a
plea and abatement and motion to dismiss.
So motion to dismiss is what I was thinking. Plea and abatement just stays the proceedings, but I guess you want to abate and then dismiss. Yeah, so plea and abatement, motion to dismiss.
So it's a little bit confusing because she says he filed in this county for dissolution, and I wonder if she filed for only a SAPSR. But she did say that her hearing was for spousal support also. So hopefully she filed for divorce.
Either way, they've only been separated for 3 weeks, which would not give him enough time to be in the county for 90 days.
Right. So remember, in order to file, 6 months in the state, 90 days in the county. If you go to another county and you file in an improper county, then what should happen is a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. Sometimes you can request a plea and abatement. You can, and obviously mom or wife needs to file in the correct county, and that way the proceedings can go through there.
I have a question. Have you ever had somebody come in and accidentally file for divorce? Because she says he intentionally filed.
I caught that too.
Yeah, there's a remedy for that. So you declare.
Hey, what's this in the mail? Oh shit! I accidentally filed for divorce. I'm sorry. It's just an accident.
I thought that census looked weird.
Oh well.
Can I pick my kids up from school with no problems? Mother has blocked me from speaking.
I'm going to go with no right now.
Mother has blocked me from speaking to my kids and has moved 2 hours away with no custody case and no court orders. Am I legally able to pick my kids up from school if wife has moved 2 hours away?
Yes. I mean, if there's not a court order in place, then you can basically you both have equal rights to your kiddos. And so you can pick them up, you can enroll them in school, you can take them to doctors, you can do whatever the heck you want to because you don't have a court order. Now, I say do whatever the heck you want to. Like, don't do anything
so
crazy.
Did they say they were married?
Used to be.
Used to be.
Mother. It says used to be, yeah.
Mother, they used to be married?
Yeah.
How are they?
It says mother has blocked me from speaking to my kids.
I don't think it's,
I don't think they're married.
So I guess the first thing would be, is he a father, right? Because if he's not on the birth certificate, he didn't sign acknowledgement of paternity, and there's been no adjudication. If they're not married, he's not the presumed father, and so he wouldn't really have those parental rights if he's not a father.
Yeah.
But if he did sign a birth certificate and he's on there as a father, then you're right. Yeah, he would have the same rights as mom. Now, I wouldn't go pick them up and then take them and enroll them in a different school and start all that. You just need to file a case.
Yeah.
This is a family question with a little bit of custody. My ex-husband has been a no-show in my two boys' life for the last 8 years. He ends up getting a divorce and fighting for custody for his daughter. So the court was like, why don't you have anything to do with your boys? So we opened a custody case for them. I signed a gradual visitation because he's a stranger, and he has them every other Saturday, overnight to Sunday right now. He won't take them to their wrestling tournaments, but won't let me keep them to take them. What can I do to make sure my boys go?
Get an order. That needs to be like an answer to all these questions. Get an order. Hire a lawyer. So you can actually request provisions in your order for extracurriculars and basically mandating or ordering the other parent to deliver the children to certain events. And if they can't deliver them for whatever reason, then they give you basically a right of first refusal so that you can have the opportunity to pick them up, take them to their events, and bring them home. I will tell you that this very much depends on the judge's discretion and kind of their MO when it comes to these issues. Some judges are very much in favor of extracurriculars and making sure the kiddos attend. Others, not so much. They prioritize the parents' times over the extracurriculars. So you need to discuss this with local counsel, figure out what the judge normally does in these situations. I would say typically in our courts, the judges are very big on extracurriculars and making sure that kiddos attend because they're prioritizing what's important to the child, not what's important to mom and dad, right?
Yeah, and I would say so long as that's not being abused, right? Because you do run into cases where you have one parent that's scheduling all the extracurriculars on the other parent's time and really interfering with the other party's possession. But if it's just something the child's been doing for a while and it happens to be during his time, yeah, get an order. And I feel like that we should make a play on Goldstein's get a fucking order. You know?
Yeah, right. That's good. Yeah. Right.
Can I get half equity of a house that my name isn't on? I have a boyfriend and had his child. He lived in the house currently before meeting me. The house was in his father's name. When I moved in, we decided to buy the house together, but we put it in my name, not his. At signing, we were supposed to add his name. The paperwork got all messed up, and I was supposed to add him after the process. I never did. Now we are separating. We got the house for $80,000 under the appraisal because of the father. No realtor, no closing costs. Can he come after half of the house, or what can he come after?
So we're going to stick with the boyfriend terminology because it's very helpful because you're not married. And if you're not married, then he doesn't have any rights to anything, right? So she says my boyfriend. Yeah. So, so long as he's a boyfriend, he has no rights to anything. Now, if he can prove common law marriage, then.
Yeah, then he may have still wouldn't have it because it would be a gift. It would still be separate property because it was transferred from his father to her name.
But she said they bought it, right? They bought it from the father?
Say girlfriend. Girlfriend bought it from father, $80,000 under market value.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So it would be community property. If there's a common law marriage, then he would be entitled to half of the value.
But it depends on when you establish the common law marriage, right? So common law marriage is cohabitation, intent to be married, and holding out. Okay. So a lot of times, one of the easiest ways that we try to go about proving this is through tax returns. And so let's say, hypothetically speaking, that that girlfriend purchased this house in 2019, and in 2020, they filed a joint tax return as husband and wife for 2019. Then I think there would be a valid argument that they were married in 2019 at the time that she purchased this home, which would then make it community property, which means he would get half of it. But let's say that they filed separate tax returns in 2019, then it becomes her separate property. And if they filed a joint return in 2020, then we potentially have a reimbursement claim.
Depending on how it was paid off and all of that.
Yeah. So reimbursement claim basically is
if the community funds were spent on a separate property home, then you can reimburse the community. You could seek reimbursement to the community for whatever funds that they spent on the home. In this case, the reduction of principal. Actually, no, the law changed, right? So it's dollar for dollar now.
Yeah.
So if they paid $200,000 for the home, that would be a reimbursement claim. It could be divided. But I was trying to think through that. So not a meretricious relationship, but what's the other one? Putative spouse?
Mm-hmm. That's not.
I don't think that would play a role here, right?
Yeah. So the trick this is all going to just hinge on is if they can prove a common law marriage, right? If they can't prove it, then you're in the clear. You don't have to give them anything. You can kick them out and you'll be good to go.
Should I press charges on my ex for exposing my pictures? But I also sent one back with him because I was embarrassed. I recently had a DV case dismissed against my ex, and 1 month later, he reached out to me harassing me. My new partner reached out to the number, telling him to stay away from me, and he proceeds to say multiple times that he has certain things of me, you know what, have to keep it PG, then sent multiple. They went back and forth for 20 minutes, and then at the end, my new partner got upset. He exposed me like that, and sent one of him doing you know what to me, and said, you talking so much trash, but look at you. That was the end of the combo. I just want to know if I should press charges for what he did or just let it go. If I do press charges, can his lawyer try to press charges against us and say we violated him too, even though he started it?
So now that I've listened to it, so it was
sent to boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend
sent it to current boyfriend. So what's the statute?
So this is the old revenge porn statute. So if you disclose it or distribute to another party someone's naked photos, it's a violation of the law. Class A misdemeanor.
Oh, is it a misdemeanor?
Class
Okay,
A misdemeanor,
perfect.
yeah.
And so by old boyfriend sending the inappropriate photos to new boyfriend, that would be a Class A misdemeanor. But then, presumptively, girlfriend had to send
to new boyfriend, so the new boyfriend gets into old boyfriend, which would also be a disclosure of the naked photos.
So girlfriend and new boyfriend each. Well, so new boyfriend sending it back to
boyfriend. I think that's fine because he didn't disclose it to anybody. She disclosed it to new boyfriend. He disclosed her to new boyfriend.
To old boyfriend. No,
old boyfriend disclosed her to new boyfriend. She disclosed old boyfriend to new boyfriend. Everybody's disclosed all this crap to new boyfriend. And so
poor new boyfriend.
I know,
all these news.
girlfriend and old boyfriend could be charged under the revenge porn statute.
So don't do that. How about that? That's solid advice.
What about the famous statute of but they did it first?
So that's
speak to that.
I mean, we could consider that as an affirmative defense.
Have you ever used that defense before?
I don't know that I've ever used. I'm sure I have, honestly.
In kindergarten, I think I used that, but
yeah.
You started.
Right.
And so negative and negative. Yeah. Negative times a negative is a positive.
Right.
And so we both do something wrong.
So I would say don't pursue any charges because it likely would not end well. So
yeah, and maybe don't send nude photos to people if you don't know you're going to be together forever or there's any possible or whatever. Just don't send them. Just, yeah.
Excellent.
Everything hits the internet.
Yeah.
How can I prove parental alienation?
Ooh, good question.
Lord, do we have 2 hours, 3
Right.
hours to talk about this?
Hire a good attorney.
Right.
I have a basic parenting order on file that says I should have my parenting time and it shouldn't be unreasonably withheld. I have a 7 and a 3-year-old, been briefly in the 7-year-old's life for about 6 months living with her and her mom. Since then, the order has been violated numerous times. I'm in court now since I've last seen my daughter. Hold on. This just turned into an absolute mess. The situation is going to be terribly damaging to my kids mentally and me. Basically, how can I prove parental alienation? What are some clear and universal examples I can use to prove this? I have what can I use to prove this?
Clear and universal examples.
I don't know if that exists. I'm going to go with it depends.
So alienation is one of the hardest things that we attempt to prove as lawyers. I have had one case that I can recall where the judge very clearly found that the mother was guilty of alienation and therefore the father should have primary conservatorship. And so that is more of an art than a science for sure. Because you can't necessarily prove, I don't know, like
it's all
universal
circumstantial.
truths. Yeah.
Right? It's all circumstantial. So you have to look at the facts, like what is she doing? Is it happening consistently? Are there multiple areas that it's going in, like, denial of possession, denial of electronic communication, disparaging remarks, right? Like there's a lot of factors that you look at, and how frequently is it happening? What kind of impact is it having on your relationship? Right? If it's not impacting your relationship with the kids, then the alienation isn't taking place. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into that. I would say there's not a universal truth.
It's really showing, like Floyd said, a consistent pattern, right? And every time that I have been successful in making those arguments, it is because I have outlined very clearly to the court, this is what mom has done on multiple occasions, and this is how it's negatively impacting the kiddos, right? And so if you're having isolated events, like once every few months, and she's doing something or saying something, you're not going to get there, right? But if it's consistently occurring, I think you have a shot.
And I don't know that I've ever had an affirmative finding of alienation. I've had, you're interfering with the relationship, you're not acting in the best interest, but I don't know if I've ever had a court say, I find that you are alienating.
Yeah, it's
that's
very,
hard.
very difficult. And like I said, the one time that I was able to prove it, we had a timeline, basically an alienation timeline of on this date, this occurred. And then on the back end...
Was E.T.
What?
Alien E.T.
On the back end, that was so bad. We're going to cut that. And so on the back end, I would have, like, mom was coming in and making these false accusations against dad, but then she was texting him, like, if we get back together, then all of these false accusations will go away. And so it kind of takes something.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, it kind of takes something like that to be able to get that affirmative finding. And in that particular case, I probably had about 20 different instances when things like that happen. And so that was a good case.
Okay, so we have
Cute.
Cute. I just want like a whole reel of you saying cute,
Cute.
like all the different.
Put that on bloopers.
Right.
it's just a ringtone.
Yes.
Oh, I'd shoot
Before
myself.
every blooper, it should be like cute, and then the blooper or right after. So cute.